Let's get it started. Let's get it started. Let's get it started. Everybody wants to play the sport to win the goals and maybe just to rule the world. The other girls want to pull you in to cash the win and maybe just to pick up a girl.
Hey YouTube, this is VidHead85 here, and I hadn't made a video in a little while regarding news. So this is VidHead85 is here coming at you live. Basically, I just wanted to get a few, I kind of looked a little around about so that I can bring you some news here, some things that I'm following, and they're going to be interesting. Now, I wanted to do one long video here regarding Democrats and super PACs as well, but I think that that is going to be a video of its own, simply because I want to do a little bit more research. But this part, I will be talking about the GOP budget plan, the Ryan plan, as well as House Democrats proposing a new code of conduct for the Supreme Court, and as well there is the Obama administration finally getting serious about judicial nominees. The next part that we also have is Harry Alford, who is the newest pile of cowplop that I've recently discovered. So getting into the GOP plan. The budget plan that was voted on by the House a few months ago has come to an abrupt, screeching halt, as lawmakers are forced to recognize that it simply will not work. The Ryan budget was passed in the House along party lines last March and almost didn't pass at all, as 10 Republican representatives voted with 197 Democrats against it, making its final vote tally to 21 to 207. Hal Rogers, chairman of the House Appropriations Committee, even went so far as to state that I believe the House has made its choice. Sequestration and its unrealistic and ill-conceived discretionary cuts must be brought to an end. But the problem with Ryan's budget is that it works in abstractions and it is never binding. And Republicans learn that for the sake of saving face while going back to their districts, the heavy cuts projected in Ryan's budget just simply aren't workable. He goes on to report, Republicans passed the unspecified outlines of the Ryan budget earlier this year because they look good in abstraction. When it comes to specifics, the knife cuts too deep. Meanwhile, the Senate will move Thursday to the next step in its vision of the THUD bill. Politically, this could be very good news for Democrats, the Democratic Party, allowing Democratic votes to largely control the future of the federal budget. I did a video of the CBO warning us of the Ryan Romney plan and I said this then: Ryan's budget cuts too much, too fast, and shocks our economy. Of course, you know where I want those budget cuts to be, to taxpayer subsidies that otherwise would not be cut at all and aren't. This main boomerang in this is simple. The Republicans voted for sequestration, and Ryan himself made a claim that what he voted for was bipartisanship, and that they've been looking for bipartisanship for a long time. Yet, we know that is hooey. If they really wanted to be bipartisan, they would just simply let Democrats speak in opposition to bills when they requested unanimous consent. Gohmert kept objecting, and stop putting up petty roadblocks to Democrats in the House and Senate by filibustering bills all the time. And also, I'm going to, at this point, I'm going to play the clip where Paul Ryan says that he voted for sequestration.
Quickly, Vice President Biden, on this.
Look,
I want to move on.
We don't cut it. And I might add, this so-called, I know we don't want to use the fancy word sequester, this automatic cut, that was part of a debt deal that they asked for. And let me tell you what my friend said at a press conference announcing his support of the deal. He said, and I'm paraphrasing, we've been looking for this moment for a long time.
Can I tell you what that meant? We've been looking for bipartisanship for a long time.
And so the bipartisanship is what he voted for, the automatic cuts in defense if they didn't act. And beyond that.
Now, speaking of House Democrats, it says this at a Politicus USA has a bill on today that House Democrats on Thursday proposed a law to establish a code of conduct for the Supreme Court. Now, this Scalia and Thomas, it is kind of aimed at Scalia and Thomas also, but it is simply aimed at more or less their political activities. It's surely to have Supreme Court Justices Thomas and Scalia quaking in their Tea Party boots, because it would mean that they would actually have to be independent of political and other influences. They would also have to have the appearance of independence. They would have to stay away from political activity. That part would be really hard. As it stands, this law would help guarantee that the Supreme Court justices are held to the same ethical standards that we expect of other judges. When Justice Scalia said that the Voter Rights Act was a racial entitlement and said things like the Constitution wasn't written for women and minorities, I could not help but think the Senate confirmed this guy. I didn't think of voting rights as a racial entitlement. I look at it as a duty to serve this country that I love so much. I also want to make sure that all minorities in all states have the ability to vote for the person they want to vote for and not be blocked from even getting to the ballot by long lines, onerous restrictions like the one proposed by the GOP-dominated legislature in North Carolina and signed by its governor. So-called Justice Thomas also voted to gut Section 4 of the Civil Rights Act, which was the formula by which Section 5 coverage was determined by, so that voter intimidation and suppression can continue. His wife, Ginny, is also involved in some organizations, I believe, Liberty Council or something like that, that could be bringing matters before him. This alone should disqualify him as a judge from those cases, especially the Monsanto one, where he voted in favor. He used to be a lawyer for Monsanto. Conservatives don't have impartiality for the most part. Justices Thomas and Scalia also attended a few partisan fundraisers and ruled in favor of the conservatives, raising questions about their independence. This was especially true in the Citizens United because the ruling undid decades of established campaign finance law. Questions about Thomas and Scalia's judicial independence are nothing new. We saw it both when the Supreme Court justices attended a Koch brothers fundraiser in 2010 and a Federalist Society fundraiser they attended in 2011. Thomas's failure to disclose his wife Ginny's income for almost 6 years also came out in 2011. A code of ethics for the Supreme Court is a bill whose time came a few years ago and has increasing importance given Ginny Thomas's involvement in Groundswell. And the evidence has been piling up for years. I wonder what it takes for a judge to be impeached, but it is likely that if the Senate is supposed to intervene, we will see a filibuster happening. And I say if repubes do so, bring it again and again until there is a vote, or do a talking filibuster, which should be brought back. If they are tired of hearing about it, they can probably vote to end the filibuster and go on to the next thing. Another part of filibuster reform should be the limit of the amount of filibusters that can be used in a period of a House term. I want to see those two ideologues off of the Supreme Court. More than likely, Obama would put someone on the bench from the D.C. circuit, which is usually a place where they are nominated from. I don't know who I'd pick for the bench, but Kamala Harris definitely has my eye. And speaking of judgeships, Think Progress recently did a report that Obama is finally getting serious about naming judges that could be on the Supreme Court someday. You can see that at Think Progress. I love that. That site. So there was Sri Srinivasan. He joined the bench. The president, after he got nominated and joined the bench, the president announced 3 nominees: Patricia Millett, Nina Pollard, and Robert Wilkins to the D.C. Circuit Court. Millett's long record of advocacy on behalf of big businesses is unlikely to bring joy into the heart of Obama's progressive base, but she is among the leading Supreme Court advocates in the country, and she too is young enough to have plenty of time to prove herself on a lower court. Her fellow nominee, Nina Pollard, needs no seasoning to prove herself. She's a leading feminist scholar who litigated and won a pair of very important women's rights victories in the Supreme Court. Then on August 1st, President Obama named 2 younger former Supreme Court clerks, Michael Friedland and John Owens, to seats on the Ninth Circuit. This should prove interesting, and remains to be seen what kind of fortitude the Senate Democrats will have in making sure these candidates aren't filibustered into oblivion. Now, the D.C. Circuit Court is currently 4-4 split, and Obama's nominees would guarantee a liberal bent to the court. Now, Ted Cruz has accused Obama of court packing, but what that refers to is the stacking of the court by adding seats, not filling vacant ones. Filling vacant seats is what a president is constitutionally required to do. And finally, rounding out this, Harry Alford of the CEO and President of the National Black Chamber of Commerce is the newest pile of cowplop I've discovered. I saw him trying to chew out Barbara Boxer for telling him that black groups and other diverse groups, along with black groups, told her and passed a resolution that fracking is not good for the community. After Alford testified that clean energy jobs were fiction, of course, the National Black Chamber of Commerce, like the regular Chamber of Commerce, I shouldn't use regular, but the Chamber of Commerce, period, is bought and paid for by big business. Boxer offered resolutions from the NAACP, the Pew Research Group. I got to take a look at Pew Research Group. I hear that they're a public interest group, so I definitely want to take a look at them. And the CEO of 100 Black Men of Atlanta that endorsed clean energy being able to bring jobs to urban areas. She read those resolutions and told him that these were other black groups that contradicted him, but there were other groups, like vast different groups that she cited. But he went off the deep end because she read resolutions that contradicted him from other black groups, and he said that somehow she is race baiting. So I saw another video where he was at it again with tough words for Obama, mainly on spending. The video I'll link here. And also I should put a link in the description, but I might have way too many though. No matter. He talks about Obama and how he supposedly never had a job, but he worked as a community organizer with his wife before she became his wife, and doesn't get it. He also says that he dogs successful people, which is the echo of the "you didn't build it" and wealth redistribution. Hannity then says black people have been hurt most by his policies and plays sympathetic to black people, yet he made Trayvon Martin seem like a crook because he fought in school and smoked weed. Also, Colin Powell did a brilliant smackdown of Bill O'Reilly when he protested to him, "Why do you only think of me as an African American? Why can't you think of me as an American?" Sounds like they only think of him as an American when they're not talking about President Barack Obama. So this is one round out. Check. I will be doing another video on Democrats seem to be endorsing super PACs. And I think that video should be all its own because it's pretty interesting what happens there. So I will see you later. This has been news from around the country.